Hi guys, it's Tara and welcome to Crafting with Curly Cues. Today I have a fun card for you featuring this adorable stamp set by Memory Box and one of my favorite go-to card layouts. So to start, I have a craft card base and then I have used some dies to cut some circles and a scallop circle out of this really fun summertime um, paper pack. So there's that adorable stamp set. I just thought this was so unique. You never see frogs. Like you see penguins and deer and bears, but frogs are not really something that occurs in stamp sets all the time. So when I saw this, I just knew I had to have it. My grandma has always been a big fan of frogs, so she instantly popped into my head and I was like, this is perfect to create cards for her. So today I'm going to be using the Hoppy Birthday sentiment, isn't that stinking adorable? And creating a birthday card. Even though the stamp set is kind of themed for the holidays, it's pretty versatile and you can use it all year round. So I'm starting with my craft card base and I have just masked off the back side with some post-it notes. And then I'm just using some Versamark ink and some of those additional little images that come with the stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp all over this background. So Versamark is usually used for heat embossing, right? Well, it's also a watermark ink. So when you put it on the cardstock, it creates this really cool tone-on-tone look that if you just let it dry, just stays there in that really nice, subtle background. And this is one of my favorite ways to create backgrounds. Like I said, this is a pretty go-to card design for me because I think it's really fun. It lets you use all those additional little images in the stamp set and really allows you to have just kind of one focal image, like really be the main point of interest that you can color. And usually my circle's pretty small, so I don't have to do tons of coloring. But anyway, so now I've got my Memento ink pad, and this is a really great Copic friendly ink. I am going to be doing some Copic coloring. So I'm just going to go ahead right now and figure out how I want to utilize this little circle. This is some Nina 110 pound solar white cardstock. And I'm using, like I said, that Hoppy Birthday sentiment. And I'm just kind of wanting to make sure that everything that I want on this little circle is going to fit. So now I'm taking this adorable little frog guy. He looks really smug to me. Like he's just like, he's kind of a snooty frog. I don't know. And I stamped him also on the sticky edge of one of those Post-its I had used to mask off the back. And then I just cut out his little legs. I didn't need to do his head very well because I'm not going to be stamping over that. And I just did a really fast, quick mask so that I can stamp his little lily pad right underneath him and have him sitting on his lily pad in the middle of this circle. So there goes the lily pad, and now when I peel off that mask, you can see that the little frog is just chilling on his lily pad in the middle of this circle. So it makes just a nice, simple focal point that's going to coordinate really well with the background. I don't know if you saw, but the stamp set has like a little teeny tiny fly in it because one of the frogs has his tongue like sticking out to catch the fly. So I used it on the background because I thought it was fun because a present and a little like starburst is pretty normal, but to make it like a frog birthday card, I stuck the fly on there. So then just to tie that all in, I'm going to put this little fly right here on this front image panel also, just because it's just really cute. Like, who would have thought a fly would be cute? But anyway, so now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to save that mask, you can see, and I can use that next time I use this set. So super handy. So now I'm going to dive into my Copic coloring here, and this is pretty simple. I'm just using a couple shades per image. The trick here was to make everything not just look like one big green blob. So I'm kind of digging through my Copic stash and finding different greens. So I went with kind of the more olive tones on the lily pad here, and then I'm going to go with like some brighter yellow greens on the frog just to get some differentiation between all the green that I've got going on here in this card. So this actually ended up being where this could be like a masculine birthday card. I kind of went with greens and yellows instead of like, pinks or something. And the frog is not really super girly or super masculine one way or the other. So kind of nice that this can be for both types of birthday cards. I know masculine cards for me are kind of a challenge sometimes. I always want to put glitter and sparkles and things, and while some masculine recipients of cards might enjoy that, not all of them do. So not all the girls that I give cards to like all the glitter and glitz that I put on there. But anyway, this stamp set is good for those masculine cards because it is kind of different in that sense. So now I'm coming in with those yellow greens. And I'm just going to go ahead and do some simple shading on the little frog guy here. I'm just kind of assuming that the top part is going to have the more highlight and just kind of making everything under his chin and then kind of at the bottom of his face a little bit darker. And then when I'm all through, I will come in and I will add a little bit of dot detail using these colors, just to add a little bit of interest to him, because he is the only focal point on the card, so I want to make sure that he's super fun to look at. So I added that dot interest. So while I'm coloring, I wanted to kind of run something by you guys. I'm just wanting to get a little bit of feedback. If you guys have a moment to leave a comment and let me know. I recently, as I've mentioned about a million times, moved my craft room. So I went from the smaller, darker room into the larger room with the bigger window and more natural light. So I'm super excited about that. I'm sure you guys have all been through the transition of this. Started out as a little hobby that needed a little bit of space, and it has turned into this big giant crafting behemoth that now requires this whole huge space. But anyway, the moral of the story here is that I am now finally settled to the point where I'm going to start putting away some of the stuff that has kind of collected as I've been in the moving process. And I was wondering if it would be useful or helpful or interesting at all to you guys to do a little mini series of videos on some of the different ways that I store some of my supplies, and some of the organizational tricks and tips that I've picked up over the past year and a half as I've been doing this stamping thing. So let me know if that's something you guys are interested in, because this would be a perfect opportunity for me as I'm putting stuff away to kind of just add that as part of what I'm doing as I put stuff away. If not, I don't want to take extra time and film it if nobody wants to see it. So just leave me a comment, let me know one way or the other, and that might be something that I can do in the future. So back to my little froggy guy, I went ahead and took a really light blue color and I just put a nice faint line all the way around the image. This just really helps the image to kind of pop. It almost gives it like a shadow, but not quite, and a light blue is a really great color to do with that. And then I just take my colorless blender and kind of go around the edge of that line and just make sure it's not really harsh. And that's just a way that you can almost barely see it, but your eyeball, it's like a visual trick, because it just makes it look like it's popping off the page a little bit. So just a little tip when you have like this one little image like this. So now I am coming back in, you can see, with the darker tone of the YG, and I'm putting a little bit of dot detail, and then I'm coming back in with the lighter one and doing some dots on top just to kind of blend it out. And I am going to put some dots on his belly too, where I used an even paler green to just make sure that, again, we don't have a big green blob on the centerpiece here. And then finally, to finish off the coloring, I'm going to come in with that super light blue and just color the little wings on that fly. So now that that is all done, I went back to my card base, and you can see over in the corner I have that yellow piece of cardstock that's going to be kind of a border around my focal piece. I wanted to tie that yellow into the background, so I took my Stardust Jelly Roll pen in this kind of yellowish orange color, and I'm coloring the ribbon on all that packages. So it's just adding like a little bit of yellow tone as well as some glitz and glam. So I can't resist. I know it's a masculine card, but you gotta have at least a little bit, right? And so you can see I just went back through, and then I also put a little bit of silver sparkle on all the little fly wings on the background. Now, with the background, if you'd planned ahead better than I did, you could skip stamping and coloring in certain spaces. You can see I didn't color some of the packages because I knew I was going to stick my focal point there. But because I wasn't 100% sure where he was going to go, I just did the whole background. So you could save yourself a little bit of time by not doing that. So I'm just going to use my ATG gun, and I'm just going to assemble everything here. This is a really quick assembly. Like I said, I've made this card design about a bajillion times. This tends to be what I go to when I need a last minute, like a get well, or something that I don't have in my stash. The way I'm talking, it sounds like I give cards out all the time. I really don't. I'm actually really bad about actually giving cards. It's kind of a bummer because I have all these fun cards sitting here and they never get given. But when I do give a card, I tend to not have what I need, and I need to make one really quick. And this is kind of something that I go to because it is fun, it's visually appealing, and it's super quick to put together. So I'm using some craft foam, and I had used the same circle die that I used on the front for the yellow piece of pattern paper to cut that craft foam circle out so it fits perfectly on the back. And then I'm just going to pop this little panel right up on the front of this card. So at this point, you could be done. You could absolutely just walk away, and this card is super cute, ready to roll, nice and easy put together. I love the subtle background. I think it's super fun. I decided to go in with my corner chomper and put some 1/2-inch corner rounds on those outside corners there. And then I am also going to come in with some gel pens and add just a little bit more detail to the frog. I had to really, really, really resist busting out my Wink of Stella. It was hard for me, but I didn't do it because I wanted to just let it be. But I did add a little bit of white dot detail to the dotted areas on the frog, just again to give it that extra detail and something something there. And then once I had done that to my satisfaction, I came in with my black gel pen, and I'm just going to kind of darken up some of his facial features and just make sure that they are really nice and vibrant and you can see them through the coloring. And that is going to finish up this adorable little froggy card. So I love how when you get up close, you can really see the sparkle and shine on that background, but when it's far away, it's nice and subtle. So it turned out super cute. I'm really happy. You can see all the different green tones. I'm glad it didn't turn into a big green blob. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I really love to hear from you. Go ahead and leave me a comment. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your support and feedback. It's fabulous and it helps me know what to do next. So I'm going to list all the supplies over at my blog. You can always join me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. And here's a link to the last video that I did for Tupelo Designs LLC featuring a Zig Clean Color watercolor background. Thanks guys. Bye.